Gastro Inn, and then yeah.
Well, it began about in 2001, where I have an internal muse that guides me. So you might say it's an internal voice, a higher self, whatever, that guides me. And so about 2001, I put together a business plan to grow vegetables, or basically to grow salad greens for the peninsula and Astoria. This was before industrial organic had kicked in with Earthbound Farms and all the big farms doing it. So I got some investors to buy that greenhouse, and we had it on another piece of property. And it took me 2 years to get it into production. And by that time, industrial organic had kicked in, and all the people that I had lined up that said, "Oh yeah, we'll buy from you," wouldn't, because the price was too high, and they had to do work. Industrial organic provided a nice big plastic bag, and they came in and did all the work. So what was funding it at that time was a landscaping company, so I just kind of did it, kept learning from it. And then about 5 years ago, one of the investors that I had in the original purchase of the big greenhouse and getting the business going said that he had a loan come in and he wanted to reinvest it, so let's go buy some land, because he knew that I could expand and do better. So he bought this property for me, and at the time there was nothing here. This was just all grassland. And then 2 years later, he became the sort of itinerant investor that was never around taking long trips, and I was feeling really uncomfortable with him going on kayaking trips into the Straits of Juan de Fuca and up into Alaska, and I didn't own anything. We had a handshake agreement is what we had. So I turned around and bought it from him, and I bought it on the basis of a landscaping company that I had at that time that was earning enough money to get myself a loan to buy it. And as the economy started to change, the planet changed. I've always known that there were sustainable ways of living, and the longer I was here, the less it became a business to provide salad greens as a way of educating people. And as we got there's a solar composting toilet over there that a friend of mine makes, and he made that one and gave it to us. And then 2-3 years ago, we made a solar assisted hot water heater as part of a workshop here where people came from all over the state to see how to build one, and that was before they were ubiquitous, before you could get them online, kind of a thing.
Right.
So we were doing that, and then we had the hurricane that hit in 2007. We had 160 to 180 mile an hour winds here that totally destroyed a greenhouse, which was where the dome is now. And we ended up having to cut all the plastic off of the big dome just to save the frame. And then it was another 5 months after December, it was after May, before we could do anything to repair it, because of the rains were so heavy. And you can't put up a greenhouse in the rain. You can't put the plastic over it and everything. So I used the insurance money to get new materials for that and to buy the dome. And you'll see the dome later. It incorporates a lot of more sustainable, high-tech, you might say, ideas that are teachable, where I have tours that people come through. And about the time I was putting the dome in, I realized that what I wanted to do was to make this into a sustainable living center, where people learn the skills not only to grow food organically and sustainably, but how to live with a lighter footprint on planet Earth. And so then it became Green Angel Gardens, Sustainable Living Center, and Organic Farm. So we can go over the various aspects of it, but that was sort of the vision as it, as I kind of opened up step by step. Then last year, the economy crashed. Actually, 2 years ago, the economy crashed, and nobody was buying landscapes. So my business totally tanked. So at this point, I am 3 months, almost 4 months behind in mortgage payments here. And the Bank of America and Citibank, who both received millions of dollars, billions of dollars from taxpayers, tell me that I don't earn enough money to warrant changing my monthly mortgage payments, that I should sell. So I am currently looking at the potential of making this into a nonprofit, which it is. I mean, it's an educational center. Mm-hmm. So what I'm looking at doing, that has been done before, is where a group of people buy an entity, like a theater or some other place, to take it off the market. And then I would work with that group to create a nonprofit, 501c3, that at some point could then buy it back from them. But it would give me that leeway time to develop all of that, instead of having to spin all my wheels right now mowing lawns and doing other things to make enough money to pay electric bills and those kinds of things.
Sure.
So I have taught in a local elementary school. Another asset to this is the wind turbine. For years I've known, since I've been on this piece of property, that one of the, you might call it a value-added product, was the wind. I even had a member of the federal government come out here and try to help me write a grant to get a wind turbine. But during the process of writing the grant and everything, I realized that he was making 10 times much more money trying to help me to write the grant than I was making, and that I would ever make on writing this grant, and that it was a very bureaucratic system for writing grants. My grant proposal was going to go into a pool of people across the United States looking to get money, so my chances were very small. So I was going, So at that time I still had my landscaping company, so I forked over and bought the wind turbine with the idea of eventually going off-grid or grid tie to get payback. Then I started looking into grid tie, and the local PUD company wants $1,000 to tie me into the grid so that I can get paid back for the electricity I'm producing. And I went, this doesn't sound right. So right now I'm producing electricity that's charging batteries. I just recently got an inverter so that I can transfer that energy into 110. And I'm going to run the farm, you might say, not this house, although the house would probably be cheaper to run. I'll run the greenhouse, the systems in the greenhouse that need electricity, the water pump, and the inflation system. The reason it looks like a pillow, because there are 2 layers of plastic in there, and they're filled with air. So there's a water pump, and then the farm store, I'll be able to run off of the wind turbine. So when people come to the farm store, they can see that it's being run off wind. It's the only wind turbine right now on the Long Beach Peninsula that the tower was approved by the county and engineers and everything. There are 2 other turbines actually on the peninsula about half the height that charge batteries. But I use it as a teaching module as well. Next week I'll have close to 110 kids coming to the farm to have experiences of farm and to meet the chickens, which they love.
Yeah.
And to experience harvesting food, eating food. I'll give them seeds and soil to take back with them, but they get the sense of this is where food can come from.
Great.